Hey, Shalom, ye men of Israel, Bayat Shadawadah, House of David. I want to start off by giving all thanks, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wahara Kakodash. Yahweh being a true Hebrew name of the Heavenly Father, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, but Yahweh, which is Hebrew, for he is to be, to exist, his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. That name will have to be in the Hebrew, and it is Yahweh Shai, which is Hebrew for he saves, he delivers, he is our salvation. And Rakar Kodash, which is the Holy Spirit, which is moving throughout this earth by the mentioning of this word. I want to give double honors to the elder apostle of Great Millstone, who rule well, teach well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that are pushing this word, this truth, in sincerity. I am your brother Bernard Bond of the Dallas GMS camp, coming to you again with another lesson, praying that this lesson will be edifying. So I took interest in this article here because it spells out the times that we're in. It's from the U Politics, and it reads, Trump's new counter-T-ism plan targets, it says, left-wing extremists and radical pro, that G word, groups sparking free speech concerns. And we've seen, articles similar to this, okay? But understanding that we are in the last days, and at some point in time, as we know the words of Yahweh Bashim al Shah don't return to him void, this devil, so-called white man, okay, plans on coming down on the men of the Lord. Okay? It tells you that Jacob's trouble, okay, Jeremiah 30:7, all right? But it also lets you know that, the way this devil's going to do it is through gradualism. He's not just going to come right at you. He's going to, hide himself as he always does through his words. So let's get into this article, get some precept, and it shouldn't be too long. It says the Trump administration unveiled a new national counter-T strategy that places violent left-wing extremists and Antifa among the country's top security threats, marking a sharp break from the Biden administration's focus on white supremacist violence. And he uses code words, okay? He'll give you the impression, okay, that he's speaking in a general sense. And he could. But there's a target that he's really after, okay? And that's the men of Great Millstone, those that are preaching this truth, okay? Those that they would say is committing treason. But the prophets of old, okay, chanted down each kingdom that was about to come to an end, okay? That is the duty, okay, as we've been charged, okay, and commanded by Yahweh Bashim al Shah to preach this word. And this is a threat to the rulers of this kingdom. All right, Esau, Edom. It goes on to say the strategy identifies narco-T, the Islamist T, and violent left-wing extremists as the government's primary counter-T priorities. Administration officials also pointed to what they called extremist trans-G ideology as part of a broader concern over politically motivated violence online. But we know that this devil, he's the most violent man here on earth. Okay? You can see what has been done to Venezuela, what's been done to Iran, okay, what was done in the past to Iraq. He's the bloody man on this earth. But he's always pushing that violence and extremists, okay? But that's his MO. Goes on to say during a press call announcing the strategy, Sebastian Gorka, the White House senior director for the counter T, said the administration's plans to aggressively pursue groups it believes encourages violence and instability. See, and that's why Job 9:24 goes into what? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? They portray themselves to be the good guys. Okay? As if everything they do is righteous. No, it's the opposite. And you can't speak against this. And that's what they plan on doing, is basically cutting off free speech or, the scriptures. Anything that identifies, okay, his wickedness, okay, because he doesn't want to be in the light, in the limelight. But the Most High is making this devil bear, Jeremiah 49 and 10, okay? And it goes on to say, this is the meat right here, said, we see a threat. We see a threat, we will respond to it, and we will crush it, whether it is the cartels, jihadists, or violent left-wing extremists, like Antifa, Gorka told reporters. Gorka also referenced the recent killing of conservative activists. They keep bringing this guy's name up, right? While discussing online radicalization and political violence. He said federal officials are examining extremist rhetoric across digital platforms regardless of political affiliation. That's right, okay? Because brothers do lessons on YouTube, okay, and various platforms, okay, preaching the downfall of this kingdom. So that's his intent, is to come down on the man of the Lord, or the men of the Lord, Salakia. Okay? But he'll portray it as if he's going after these other individuals or, political groups. Okay? Because he likes to throw in Democrats, left-wing extremists. It goes on to say it's also about the ideology, whether it's against Western civilization, you see, America, the U.S. Constitution, our friends, our allies, peace in general. You fit under that rubric, you see? So they talk about ideology. I'll read it again. It's also about the ideology, whether it is against Western civilization, America, the U.S. Constitution, our friends. Who are their friends? They're talking about those little hats, okay? And those that are like them. It said our allies, peace in general. You fit under that rubric, Gorka said during the call. All right? And how does he do these things, man? Through unrighteous decrees. Okay? Because this is the agenda that they're going to make into a strategy, a national counter-T strategy. Okay? With that Gorka guy being the head of it, okay, or spearing it. All right? So let's get that Isaiah 10 and 1. Because it's through his unrighteous decrees that he makes these laws, right? It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. So he's really coming after you so-called blacks, Latino, Native Indians. Okay? Those that are speaking, against, because it's supposed to be a free speech here in America. Okay? We're reading from the scriptures, all right, and preaching the truth. Because this world is void of truth. And when you speak truth, guess what? You're a target. To turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay? So that's how this devil plans on achieving his agenda. Okay? Job 9:24 says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Okay? Revelation 6 and 4 says what? We'll get that. That red horse. Okay? That was going to take the peace from the earth, man. This is Revelation 6 and 4, and it reads, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him. See, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And this is Esau Edom. He is that sword. Revelation 27, Slakia, Genesis 27, all right, 38, 39. He is that great sword. All right, and what do you do with the sword? You can bless with the sword, but you can also what? Delete with the sword. You see? So all these things that he's doing, man, doing what? Framing unrighteous decrees by way of laws. Let's get that Psalms 94 and 20. Psalms 94 and 20. It reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? And that's what he does. His word is law, but it's unrighteous laws that he decrees against the people, including his people. He said they gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. Coming after the man of the Lord, okay, that's the intent, okay, because we are out there preaching the truth, okay, the downfall of this kingdom, as other prophets before us did that as well. Jeremiah 28:8. Let's get that. Jeremiah 28:8. It reads, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. You see? So there's nothing new under the sun. All right? That's how the Most High announced the end of one kingdom and the beginning of another kingdom, through war, okay? Through chaos. You see? But we see what this devil's doing, man. He doesn't care who he knocks down. Like I said, his own people. All right? We'll get that in Sirach 10:3. Ecclesiasticus 10:3, and it reads, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. So this devil, okay, doesn't care how he, makes his move. He's getting sloppy, okay? He's getting sloppy and he's careless, okay? That's what makes him unwise, you see? And we know, pursuant to Revelation 12:12, that he knows that he has but a short time, all right? And he's going to come down hard on the men of the Lord, man. You see? Jeremiah 30:7 talks about Jacob's trouble. All right? Jacob's trouble. And it says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? Yeah. It's this devil, this self-proclaimed white man, that's bringing on, all this wickedness throughout the world, man. Okay? And knowing that his time is up, and the men of the Lord basically putting that in his face, okay? Yeah, he's going to consider that to be treason. And he's going to be looking at that as those that are against America. Okay, what did the article say? Okay, it says, Slovakia, it says, the strategy identifies Narco-T, Islamic group. That's not what I wanted, Slovakia. Here it is. It says, it's also about the ideology, you see? See, this truth that's going out, okay, through the men of the Lord, great millstone, is a threat to Esau's kingdom. And it's internal. And that's why he plans on coming after, calling certain groups the T word here in American soil, you see? So the threat to him is internal. It says it's also about the ideology, whether it's against Western civilization, America, the U.S. Constitution, our friends, our allies, peace in general. You fit under that rubric, you see? But we've been called to what? Testify against this kingdom, okay? We are called to testify against this kingdom of its wickedness, man. Ecclesiastes 10:5 goes into that. We have seen an evil that under the sun. Let's get that. Ecclesiastes 10:5, and it reads, there is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler. You see, the rulers of this kingdom here, okay, are all wicked. You see, all wicked. That's why they basically, repeat what the ruler of this kingdom proclaims, okay? And the officers, all these Elon Musk, Haggath, okay, the military. It says that in Sirach 10:2. What does it say? As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So they're, Confederates. They just follow the top, okay, which is, the small hats, if you will, all right, the elites, okay, to carry out the action, okay, given on to the president, then to his what administration. It says his administration, his officers, okay, pushing that agenda. You see, but the Most High is doing what? Is making this devil bare. He's revealing through the men of the Lord, okay, making known the intentions of this devil, okay. It says that in Job 20 and 27. Let's get that. Job 20 and 27. And it reads, the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. You see, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. So the Most High is gradually, okay, exposing this devil, man. Judgment has already been made on this devil, okay, but also inquisition, because we're testifying against this kingdom. All right, it said the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is a portion of a wicked man from Yahweh, by Shem Shah, the heritage appointed unto him by Yahweh, by Shem Shah. You see, because it says in Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 9 that inquisition, right? Inquisition shall be made. All right? Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 9, for inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly. They're having these, closed door meetings, okay, on what they plan on doing to, those that are speaking against this kingdom, you see. And then what? Passing unrighteous decrees, laws, to persecute the poor of Yahweh by Shem Shai. It says, for inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. Yeah, so we're testifying, okay? The northern tribe, the southern tribe, those that are great millstone are testifying this devil, okay? Knowing that the Most High is about to, put his foot in this devil. That's why he's acting the way he's behaving. He knows that he has but a short while, man. The Most High is about to what? Bring an end to this kingdom, as it says in 2 Ezra 6 and 9. We'll close out with that. 2 Ezra 6 and 9 says what? For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the end of this kingdom is nigh, okay? And who's pushing and chanting this kingdom down? It's the men of the Lord. And we know that he's the carnal man, so he's going to come down on the men of the Lord. But the Most High, as it says in Daniel 12 and 1, is going to raise up a standard. We'll get that. Daniel 12 and 1 says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So yes, the Most High is going to protect his elect, okay? And no harm is going to come to them, even if they, become a martyr, okay? For the name of Yahweh Shem Shai, they shall be raised up first. So we shouldn't fear this devil, okay? Who should be feared? Yahweh Shem Shai. With that being said, I want to give all thanks, all praise to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Wachar Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostle, great millstone, who rule well, teach well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.